everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nara and here we're discussing all things astrology, spirituality, and psychology. And this video is about Scorpio or Pluto in the 6th house of your chart. So if you don't know your personal planetary placements, your house system, your rising, your moon sign, then you might want to go on Google and check out astro.com, especially if you know your time of birth, and calculate your chart under free horoscopes. I think it's free horoscope, and then there's a section ascendant or midheaven. So yeah, check that out. But if you do know your time of birth and happen to have Scorpio or Pluto in the 6th house, then welcome to this video. So what is 6th house? So 6th house is a natural house of Virgo, right? So it belongs to the zodiac sign of Virgo, which is an earth sign, right? And having Scorpio in the 6th might be your water sign in the earth house, right? 6th house is related to the routine, okay? The daily things, the things that we do on a daily basis, right? Such as laundry, washing our face, brushing our teeth, right? And all of those things. Some people don't do that means that they have a very poor 6th house. 6th house also relates to your health, okay? Because remember, we have 12 houses in astrology, right? And the 6th house is literally the midpoint of the chart, right? I mean, it starts with the 1st and then it goes into the 6th. So like half of the chart is done pretty much. And when you get into the 6th house, that represents your bodily health. Whereas the first houses prior to the 6th represented your mind, your emotional world, and whatever. And now the 6th house is your bodily health. How all of those areas are integrated and create the bodily health that you have. Okay, so I'm gonna get into more psychological meaning of that, what I just said. So yeah, that's the 6th house. It's also the employed job. Like, so for instance, it's not the necessarily you having a side hustle or doing business for yourself. 6th house, the employed work that we do, okay? Like the paychecks we get, so we work for other people, not necessarily for ourselves, right? So that's also the 6th house. Having Scorpio or Pluto in the 6th house creates psychosomatic disorders, okay? So people who ever has 6th house in water houses will struggle with psychosomatic things. Not necessarily zodiac sign of Cancer, I would say Pisces and Scorpio. You guys, if you have any aches in your body, if you experience any illness, believe, if you have this placement, realize that traditional, conventional medicine will never help you, because it got into a point of illness because of your psychology and your emotions, conscious or unconscious, feelings, negative thoughts, not feeling enough, being in fight or flight but not knowing it. So eventually your body starts to catch up to that stress, right? And starts to create problems. I will give you my personal example. I have Pisces in the 6th, and I have Saturn, which also represents bones, right? Bone structure. So Saturn represents actually arthritis, herniated discs, and all of those things. It's Saturn. It's the planet that brings us all those things, okay? And the 6th house as well. 6th house, it can go many ways, okay? It's not necessarily the bone structural pain or disease. So I personally have this placement in Pisces with a Saturn opposing Chiron in the 12th house of Virgo with a Venus there, okay? So I have problems with my bones. Yeah, I do have, and actually this thing is chronic for me. It doesn't go away. When I'm super duper stressed, actually I get overwhelmed pretty easily by this, so many tasks that I try to engage with, because I have Gemini, Mars Gemini, and then it overwhelms me to a point where it creates illness, right? So my overwhelming emotion creates stiffness in my body. So what I do, right, I start Tensing, right? My muscles when I'm stressed. And it gets to a point where it becomes chronic and I don't even notice that I'm doing it. And then eventually you develop a chronic pain, right? And then bones start to catch up too. Or it goes the other way around, okay? So that was my personal experience prior to me even lifting weights. So Scorpio might experience the same thing. So if you have any chronic disease, realize it's psychosomatic illness, which came from your emotions that you do not recognize or refuse to let go. Having Scorpio in this placement might also mean you literally latch onto your intense feelings about things, and they carry energy, right, that pollutes your body. So we know that it's a fixed sign as well, and they like to fixate on things, right? So let's say Pisces will forget, or like for Pisces it's easier to forgive, right? But why do we always say that Scorpios love to get a revenge? Well, because they can't forgive. They can't forget, let me say, put it this way, they can't forget, therefore they can't forgive. Because it's a fixed sign, they fixate. So like whoever betrayed them, whoever made them feel some type of way, they will remember that feeling forever and associate it with that person, okay? And that's why this feeling gets too intense that they need to get a revenge and get even. You get me? So that's all Scorpionic energy. And, having this intensity in emotions and the, fixating nature on things which are of emotional intensity, right? Creates that energy inside of you. Might literally make you sick, okay? So if you do have that placement and have a chronic pain or disease, look at your emotions, okay? Try to realize, why are you feeling this way? Try to breathe more, Try not to get overwhelmed. Do not control life, because also like all Scorpionic placements like to control life, other people. And when and that's why they're in constant stress or fight or flight, because they need to keep everything in check psychologically, right? Intense fixation again. Psychologically need to keep everything in check so that they don't miss anything, okay? Because if they miss something, they might get betrayed or hurt, so they are trying to overcome that, trying to prevent that by being proactive, right? In their mind, in their feelings, to a point where it just stays with them and makes them sick. So do you really need it? Knowing the consequences kind of thing. And that's how you get rid of those kinds of illnesses. Okay, also, like I said, it's a routine house area of your life, right? And it also shows us how you approach routine work, routine area of your life. So as a Scorpio in the 6th, you are probably someone who gets fixated on clean house, having clean house, might get really stressed and frustrated if a house not clean, and, might have a feeling of, oh, if my house is not clean, then, I will not be productive. It's possible. These people are actually also obsessed with routine to a point where they need to constantly transform what they're doing, because they think that by transforming their approach to routine, because it's death and rebirth, right? Pluto energy, I can be more motivated in the work I do. But that's not true. It's just Pluto or Scorpio is pushing you to feel this way. Especially Pluto placements in this house, and literally obsess over things, trivial things. Let's say you didn't do your laundry or something, and then you get really, really frustrated. I'm one of those people too. So this is a perfectionism, which again is the 6th house, and 6th house is a Virgo. They're a perfectionist. They're very detail oriented and critical and very orderly, doing everything in order. And if they miss something, done, okay? So they get really, really frustrated with their life and themselves and start to hate themselves in a way. So be aware of that, because it can become a psychological illness as well, wanting to clean your house constantly. Not good. I have this energy. Trust me, I fight it all the time. But these people, again, let's talk about the workplace, right? Because it's employed job, is your boss who employed you, right? So these people might have a very intense and weird relationship with their coworkers. They might have like that competition at workplace, who gets the promotion or raise, you know, who is the best worker and stuff like that, employee. They might also like deception, a lot of deception and manipulation at work, just to get above and be in more power than your co-workers. So Pluto or Scorpio in the 6th, you know, carries that energy big time. So I mean, with all Scorpionic placements, you just got to realize that other people do have their own integrity, and they do have their own boundaries, and also, you know, realizing that they need their own space too. Like, you shouldn't be manipulating them psychologically too much. I mean, but do not obsess over it where it becomes your like life's purpose. Don't do it. That's when, you know, universe punishes us when we take things too far. I mean, we get signs, cautions first, but then we miss them, right? And then we keep going, and yeah, and then we get into a place where we don't want to be. So yeah, that's this placement. So yeah, guys, I hope this video resonates with you. If it does, please leave your comments below. I would love to hear that. But if it doesn't, I would love to hear your interpretation. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, y'all.